All right. It has been a minute since I have done a live. It's been 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's been days. It has been a couple of months. I'm almost sure it's been a couple of months, but I've been busy, 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 busy. Well, I'm going to talk about Fresh and Fit and their demonetization from just sort of a legal perspective, some things to think about. I hear people talking a lot about why they were monetized. As an attorney, I get a lot of people contacting me about, things being taken down. So I want to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about this woman who had a worm in her brain, which was removed. We're going to talk about that too. But first of all, let's talk about Fresh and Fit as things are popping off on my phone, which I actually remembered to turn off this time. So Fresh and Fit, they were never really my thing. I maybe watched them a couple of times, and it wasn't even for that long. I couldn't even really follow. I don't know. It a lot of what they talked about sounded really ridiculous, and I was sometimes asking myself, who is watching this and buying into this? But really and truly, what they did was they nailed what their brand was and what they were putting out there, and they found an audience who would respond to that, who would either watch it or comment it or share it or talk about it, and that was their thing, and they were able to build on that. Now, they have since run into some issues. They shared on their channel that they had been demonetized. The channel is still there. They're still sharing content, putting content up there, but they're saying that they can't make any money off of it. Well, like I said, I get a few people who contact me about issues that they have had with their social media channels, platforms, whatever you want to call it. And the first thing that I think people forget is that it is not their home. Somebody else owns that platform. And so, specifically, and I actually wrote some of these down because I did not want to forget them. Usually the first one that I get, this is the one that I hear most often is, well, Tommy did the same thing on his channel, or Tommy did the same thing on his Facebook page, whoever Tommy is. And you remember when you were growing up and your parents would say things to you like, so are you going to do everything that Tommy does? Well, in this case, people did it and they got banned or demonetized or their profile got taken down. I've heard a lot of this when it comes to Facebook. And so people are just like, well, I don't know why they took mine down but didn't take this other person's down. Well, it's because it's their platform and not yours. And people seem to forget that. The other thing that people come to me with is, well, it's not fair. It's not fair that they took my platform down. I had a person who said to me one time, well, I think that they should have given me a warning first. I think that I should have gotten a warning. I think that I should have gotten a chance to fix whatever they were saying I did wrong. And I totally agree with the person, especially for creators who have made this their income, their job, their career and profession, and they make money off of this. And hello, 12 Hebrew tribes, glad to have you on board. So I get it when people are saying they should have given me a warning before they took my channel down or they took my profile page down on my profile page down on Facebook. People get really upset about it. I get it. I wish they would give warnings too. Then here's the third thing. They say, well, I have reached out to them and contacted them, but they won't respond to me. So, can you, as an attorney, send them a letter and make them respond to me? Because they've taken down my page and that was how I reached all my customers. Can you make them respond to me? And I'm just thinking, no, I can't make them do anything. Again, the whole thing that people are missing here is that it's somebody else's platform. It's not yours. It's almost like those morality clauses that you see in agreements where, you see it in athletics, you see it in entertainment now, and they're hiring some influencer or some performer, some celebrity to do something. And the moment you look bad, the moment you do something that makes them look bad, bad or makes their audience frown at them and say, hey, we're not going to follow you anymore. We're not going to buy your stuff. Remember all that stuff that happened with Kanye West and Balenciaga? Uh, yeah, that sort of thing. And then, of course, Kanye had lots of brands dropping him. Well, it's the same sort of thing here. A lot of these platforms don't want you to make them look bad. They want advertisers to come in, spend money so they can make money. And if you are doing things that make them look bad and advertisers say, oh, well, I don't know that I can be associated with that anymore. Well, yeah, YouTube and Facebook are going to say bye to you. So never forget that it's their home and not yours. And if it's their home, then they get to make all the rules and you don't. So no, I cannot make them respond to you. I just don't have that kind of power. Then you have the clients who say, well, I want to sue. I want to sue. And my first thought is, well, what do you want to sue for? Well, what is your goal? What is the outcome that you want? Well, I just want to sue them. I don't even know what to say sometimes when I get that, except I'm not doing that. And you're going to have to hire another attorney. Then you have, these are always the best ones. You have the person who says, okay, well, they took my platform down. I can't access it. And they're saying they got a response that says, I violated the community standards because I put a post up there that said ABC. And the person will legitimately say to me, well, I didn't have anything to do that. That was somebody else. It wasn't me. And I started asking questions at that point. Well, who else has access to your page or your account? Well, nobody. Okay, so did you give anybody else access? No. Was there any sort of scam going on and you gave someone access? No. Has someone hacked into your system? No. Like nobody else in the world has had access to their system. And yet they will tell you up and down all day long that it was not them. Eventually, as the conversation continues, they say, well, somebody said something on my page. And so I responded. And eventually the truth starts to come out. But the first place they go is, it wasn't me. I just, I never believe them anyway. So those are some of the things I think that people forget when they think about these platforms. They think they're going to start a business through their platform. They're going to get customers and clients. And that's all great until the platform no longer exists. Now, in this case with Fresh and Fit, it was, yeah, they got demonetized. But suppose it's not even anything bad. Suppose there's just some sort of hiccup, hacking, whatever you want to call it, and the whole system just goes down and it goes away. A lot of times what you hear, especially business people say, is make sure you take your money off the platform. In other words, have your own website, have your own email address. If you have a bricks and mortar store, make sure you're capturing customer and client information. And a lot of people don't do that. They think they are going to continue to survive off Facebook, off YouTube, off Instagram. That's where the money's going to come from. And they forget that when these things go bye-bye or they change their rules, all that money that they thought they were going to continue to receive may go bye-bye also. So it's just sort of something to keep in mind. But now I want to go to this whole worm in the woman's brain. Let me see if I can pull up this page. And I even brought my ruler because some of you don't know what inches really look like. So we're actually going to talk about this worm that was almost 3 inches that long, okay, from the top to where my top finger is there. That's about 3 inches. They're also saying it was about 8 centimeters. So that's about 8 centimeters. So you get the gist. This worm was found in her brain, alive, wriggling around, is what the doctor said in an NBC video. She said the thing was happily moving around. Can you imagine just being, you're that worm, you're in the brain, you've gotten all comfy, all in the nooks and crannies, gotten settled and everything. And somebody comes with a pair of tweezers, a doctor, and just pulls you on out of this space that you have made your home. Well, that was what happened. And it turns out the 64-year-old woman, she had been having symptoms since 2021. Symptoms all this time, feeling depressed, forgetfulness, memory loss, and she could not figure out what was going on. And so it took all of this time for them to finally say, hey, we need to do some tests, do an MRI. And they thought it was a tumor. They thought the thing was a tumor, and it wasn't. Let me see if I can pull up this picture because I do want you to see this this picture of this in this article. I think we're going to pull this one up. Oh, nope, wrong one. Let's see if we can pull this up. Gosh, I've got so many tabs open. I always do. And I never remember where something's supposed to be. It's the Guardian article that starts with, oh my gosh. Let me scroll down because I want us to really look at the title that they have up here for us. Oh my God, live worm found in Australian woman's brain in world first discovery. This is like too much here. I want to be bigger so we can be together. There we go. We can be a little bit more together here. So yeah, so that was it. So I want to look at these pictures so we can talk about this. So these pictures are from, I guess, the health organization, the hospital where she was being treated. And remember, I said 8 centimeters. I have my ruler here, 8 centimeters. Let's show you again. 8 centimeters or 3 inches. Most of you know what that is. So that's about 8 centimeters there. So that is a pretty long worm. That is not, when you're thinking something that's a parasite inside you, you're thinking microscopic or something tiny. No, this thing was that long and it was inside her brain living happily, or happily moving was what the doctor said in the interview. So here's where it was. Now, here's the other thing to think about. They have now said that they removed it, she's okay, but the other concern was that this worm may have left larvae in her body, and they were concerned about getting that out. Can you imagine? Okay, let me go down to the other picture so you can actually see it in the container here. So there you go. Now you guys have seen, these containers before, so you have an idea of, the size of this. So the fact that you can actually see the worm, and it's sort of red appearance there, orange appearance, the fact that you can see this worm here, that it's that large in this container, gives you an idea of this thing in her head up here, in her head, just living its best life. That worm was living its best life, and the doctor pulled it out with a pair of tweezers. It was still alive. Yeah. And they're looking for other larvae just to make sure. Now, here's the theory around what happened. Let's talk about that next. Now that you've got this image in your head, you've got this image in your head of what this thing looked like. Can you imagine? You've got this image of this thing in your head. And yeah, so they said that this, I'm sorry. 12 Hebrew tribe says, I had 6 inches of wood in my leg. They told me not to walk, and they left my leg cut open so it would work its way to the opening of my flesh. And it did one day. It poked its head out. Okay, a worm. Yeah. That's wow. See, I would just be traumatized just thinking about the fact that that was in my leg and that I couldn't get out, that something was inside of me. Now, we know that there are all sorts of little bugs and parasites and microscopic organisms in our gut and living inside of us. We all know that. But the idea that that worm, that size, was in her brain where it should not have been, that's a little different. That's definitely different. Let me leave that there so you can keep this in mind as I'm talking about how they think this happened. So what they said was they think that that she might have picked up some of the eggs when she was out doing. I guess she said she gathers greens or something like that. And they think that she might have come across the eggs. It might have been on the greens that she was gathering, and that then she may have brought them in the house. If she didn't wash it off well and she ingested it or somehow got it into her system, that was how it happened. And they're also saying that they think it went from her lungs to her liver to her brain or something like that. So this was something that's typically found in a python. This is a worm that's typically found in a python, not something you typically see in humans. And yet, there it was, like I said before, living its best life, having, just doing its thing in her brain there. The problem was, though, it was causing depression, it was causing forgetfulness and loss of memory. So, this is the first time something like this has ever happened. And I don't usually talk about that, but I wanted to bring it up because it was so different. And because I also have a science background. So I always talk about legal issues. And, I was just talking about the demonetization of Fresh and Fit and how people, talk to me as an attorney when they get demonetized or deplatformed or deprofiled. And there's another side to this. So I also have a science background. So that's why this was a little bit more interesting to talk about too. Now let's put these two together for a moment because even when I was watching Fresh and Fit, I always felt like they were way over the top. It's kind of like, are you thinking this through what you're saying? Are you really wanting to say this? Is this really what you want to put out into the world? Well, maybe there's some science behind what's going on in their head too. But that's it. You let me know in the comments if you've checked out this article, if you have checked out this picture here. And when I wrap up, I am going to put the links in the description. There are a couple of links I'm going to put in the description so that you can see a little bit more here about this worm, because this thing, like I said, is the first of its kind, and it was wriggling around in her brain when they pulled it out from its little comfy resting space. Yeah, I don't know about that. And as far as you having one in your leg, that is not something, I would have a hard time with that. I don't even know if I could I would be trying to shower and wash and hope that thing would come on out. I mean, how did you even wash your legs? Like how did you do that? How did you do that? Poked his head out. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. So I'm going to wrap up, and I'm actually going to be doing more live videos because I truly have a lot going on right now, and I don't even have the time to edit like I used to. So I'm going to try to get to the point where I'm maybe doing 2 lives a day, just short of sharing some legal things with you, talking about some of what's going on in the world. Maybe one early in the day, one maybe in the evening, and hopefully, hopefully I can do that because I obviously have not been able to actually record any videos and get them posted. I think I've done maybe 6 videos this month. All right, so let's see what the doctor said. The doctor said I could soak in warm water, but they told me not. They told me not to walk because it would work its way to my heart. Oh, wow. Okay, that's concerning. That is really concerning. Wow, that's really concerning. Well, let me know in the comment there what kind it was and how big. So you said it was 6 inches. So yeah, that's a little bit smaller than the one that was in this woman's brain. So the one that was in this woman's brain. Oh, you said inches. Oh, that's way different because hers was only 3 inches. I'm checking my phone. So hers was here. Was 3 inches. Hers was 3 inches, and then you're down here at 6 inches. So that's a big deal right there. I don't want anything that's in my leg, in my brain, that's 6 inches squirming around or doing anything that's not supposed to be there. I'm gonna have a whole problem with that. And yeah, I don't know. I would need some medication just to be able to deal with that. So how long did it take for it to work its way out? You said, let's see. One day it poked its head out. Yeah. How long did it take before it finally worked its way out? Because hers was in there 2 years. I mean, remember, I said she first started having symptoms in 2021. It's now 2023. First started having symptoms in 2021. And then that memory and forgetfulness, that was around 2022, if I'm looking at the article correctly. And then now it's 2023, and she has had it removed from her brain. So, yeah. So, I guess there would have been a concern that it could have, number one, it could have continued to grow. I don't know how long a python how long this what the size of this is, ultimately how big this thing can get. To me that thing was already pretty big. So let's see. It says, you said it took 2 months and I had to lay in bed all day and night. The weird part is being able to look inside your body, since they basically cut a big hole in my leg and left it open. So I guess, yeah, they were leaving it open for it to make its way out. That's, yeah, that's definitely pretty interesting. And I guess the difference being here, yours was in your leg, and I guess they were used to seeing that. People step on things or things happen, but the idea of one just sitting in your brain, wriggling around, living its happy life. That's the part that gets me. The doctor actually said that was happily moving, this worm, and that they were shocked. They were shocked because that was not what they expected to see when they cut open her brain. And then they pulled it out with tweezers. I don't know. I'd be shocked too. That's just too much for me. It is too much for me. But thank you. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to try to check back in later with another video that I want to talk about. And I am glad that you have gotten over uh, the one that was in your leg. I really am. I don't know how you dealt with that. All right, take it easy, everybody. And don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace.